こんにちは皆さん。私はウ先生です。今日は日本語を勉強しましょう。So today we're going to be talking about Nihongo no Kakikomi, which is Japanese writing. So you can see over here on the left we've got a few pictures and they have different types of Japanese writing on them. We're going to talk about the differences between the different types of writing. So if you look here, there are 4 different types of writing in Japanese. The 2 kinds on the left are called Hiragana and katakana, and they fit under the category of kana, which is basically like simple characters. And Hiragana and katakana both are phonetic symbols, and there's 46 of them in the whole alphabet set. Because they are phonetic, that means each character has its own sound, and every time you see that character, it will make the same sound. So if we take a look here at the green word on Hiragana, it is konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. If you take a look at the katakana, this gray word that is going up and down is pushin. Pushin. Hiragana is used mainly for native Japanese words, for connecting particles like to or no, for the pronunciations of kanji, for verb endings, and other instances as well. Katakana is used mainly for non-native words, so in other words, like words that Japanese people borrow from other languages, like keiki. Comes from the word cake in English, keiki. The oldest type of writing in Japanese is called kanji, and that's the one up here on the top right. And kanji is a little bit different from hiragana and katakana because it is logographic. And that means that each symbol has its own meaning, or it might possibly be a phrase meaning. There are thousands of symbols in the kanji set, and they are adopted from China and modified for Japanese use. Because Japanese didn't originally have a written language, that's why they started with kanji, and then they later on added hiragana and katakana for more of their own vocabulary. For people like us that are studying and practicing Japanese, the 4th type of Japanese writing is Romaji. And Japanese people can read Romaji for the most part, but they don't usually use it. It's mostly for people that are learning Japanese because we do not always know how to read their symbols. So Romaji comes from the word Roman, and it is a romanization of Japanese words. It uses the Latin characters, which are the 26 letters in the alphabet that we are familiar with. And usually you have to put together 2 letters in Romaji to make a Japanese sound. So if you take a look here up in the kanji section, that purple word that's going downwards, that's the word for Friday, and you say it kinyobi. If you look down here in the Romaji section, I've written it in Romaji kinyobi. So it helps us to know how to pronounce Japanese words if we don't know how to read those symbols. Today we're going to be focusing a little bit on katakana because a lot of people, when they're learning Japanese, they want to know, well, how do I say my name? Or how do I write my name? And katakana is what you're going to use for that because your names are English names, mostly. So we're going to use this site today called the Japanese Name Converter. And it's going to give you your name in katakana, and it's also going to show you in Romaji what that would look like. So if you don't know how to read the katakana symbols yet, you can kind of figure out what it would sound like. But it will give you a hint though. A lot of people try and focus on how their name is spelled. Like for example, if your name is Aaron with an E versus with an A, that's not really what you want to focus on here. You more want to focus on how your name sounds. I'm going to show you an example with my own name. So let's go ahead there now. Alright, so I'm on the Japanese Name Converter website, and I'm going to type in my first name, which is Holly, and you're going to see here why sometimes spelling gives you what you do not want. So I'm going to click Convert. And it gives me here my name, the symbol Ho, and Ri. So if you pronounce this out loud, it would sound like Hori. Hori, which sounds sort of like holy, right? But that's not how I want my name to sound. And so I'm going to manipulate this a little bit since I pronounce it like ha. I'm actually going to write H-A and then L-I, because in Japanese they have basically 5 main vowel sounds. There's a, I, U, E, O, and the letter I makes an E sound. So since I wanted to say Holly, let's try it now. Good, so now you can see it says ha-ri, which is perfectly fine because in Japanese the R and L sound are almost the same. They're kind of combined actually. So let's try another name just for an example. Let's use that one that I talked about earlier, Aaron. Alright, so I converted and it says Aaron. Aaron. And personally, I am obviously not named Aaron, but if I were, I would probably want people to say it more like A, right, instead of A. So I'm going to manipulate that and put an E instead, because an E in Japanese sounds like A. Let's try again. More like the girl spelling of the word, right? Alright, so this one says Eirin, and that sounds a lot more like the English equivalent, okay? So play around with the name converter, and hopefully you can figure out how to make it sound sort of natural for your name. You can also obviously use it for last names as well. And mine actually came out perfect that time, so you just kind of have to look and see what it gives you and if you have to change the spelling on that to get it to do it correctly. Anyway, feel free to ask if you have any questions down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Arigatou minasan. Sayonara.